Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today we find ourselves as demon lords trying to gain the most favor by sending our minions out to control the different realms of hell known as the 8 circles, and we're going to be gaining powers to help manipulate other minions and realms. But you can also sacrifice your minions in the 9th circle, gaining even more favor, but the other demon lords will be trying to out-sacrifice you as well. 9th circle is for 2 to 5 players, takes about 45 minutes to play, and is published by R&R Games. Now it's on Kickstarter right now, so let me show you how it works, and I'll see you on the other side. This is a Kickstarter preview, so all the art and components you see here are not final. They're prototypes. To see all the most up-to-date art and components, check the Kickstarter link in the description of this video. 9 circles here set up for 3 players. In this game, you're trying to gain the most favor. In fact, the game ends once somebody gets 25 or more favor. Whoever has the most wins. It ends then, or at the end of the 8th round, whichever happens first. Each round goes through 4 phases. Let's show you how it plays. Each player has one of these nice large player shields behind them, and they're going to have their minions. They'll have a certain amount depending on the amount of players, and in here is their minion cage, which magnets shut really nice, and this holds all your other minions and such for future rounds. Now, this is a circle that also mimics the circle that's on the board. Notice we have A through H clockwise. So as you notice, it matches the board that's here. These players will also set their board so it matches the way that they're viewing the board behind their shields. It's important to note that not all of the realms that we're going to be using this game are in each game. There's more than just 8 of them, and they are randomly placed, and the order of these will also change how the game plays as well, as we'll go over later. Now in the first phase, you're going to reinforce and or move minions, and you have these ones to place. Now again, these are the different realms that we saw around the board, and the reason why you're placing minions there, and you're doing this secretly behind your shield so no one else can see, is because each of the realms that you have more minions or that you control more than the other opponents, you'll get a point for at the end of the round, or favor if you will. Now in the first round, you're just sort of placing this. In future rounds, you can also decide to sort of move different minions around and things like that. I'll show you that in just a moment, but let's talk about this. Let's say we're done with this and everybody has finished, and everyone will reveal their shield and they'll place their minions out in the realms. And so once all the players have placed all of their minions, you're going to start with the realm with Malakota, and you're going to see who has the dominance. The dominance is whoever has the most there. Green has 4, yellow has 4, purple has 3. When you're tied, they essentially are kind of cancel each other out. So neither of these win, but the next highest one wins. So in this case, purple actually wins, and they'll place their shade there, like this, showing that they own control of this. Now, if there was somebody else's shade there from a previous round and they took control over, they would remove theirs. So there's only basically one of them there by default. And you'd go in clockwise order and do that for the rest of the realms. Now, some interesting notes on dominance is that you don't even have to continue to control it. Let's say that next round, there's no minions here, but I still have the shade there, purple. Well, purple would still win dominance. You don't have to be there. Most of the time you'll need to be, but that's an interesting caveat here. Or for example, let's say all 3 of mine are gone next round, but it's still tied 4-4. I would still keep control of that. Then we go to phase 3, which is using the realm powers. Again, starting with where Malakota is and going clockwise, we're going to use the power. And again, whoever has the shade there does it. Now remember, we're going to be going in clockwise order. So by the time it gets to some other ones, there might not be any shades there depending on some of the powers and how they interact with each other. You have to have your shade there in order to do it, and then you get to do that power. And this is where the richness of the game comes in, is trying to control different realms that have abilities that sort of help each other out and things like that. So for example, if we're going to use the raise, I get to take a minion from my supply and put it on my planning board. Then we're going to go clockwise. Portal. Purple has the shade here. They have the dominance. And so they get to basically swap all of the minions on this realm with all of the minions on another realm. So let's say they swap all the ones from here with all the ones that are here. Now I might do that because if you look now, next round, I'm not going to have control to start with here, but I will have it in the other realm, which is going to be important for maybe some future planning and such. Now let's say this yellow player is going to use bind. They can take the bind token, and they might place them here, which essentially makes it so that no other minions can be sort of physically moved from this realm for any action or additional power. Now let's look at Banish. This is a red power. You'll notice the red power has this symbol on it. And this is interesting because as you start to gain favor, you'll see there's different parts of the board. From here to here is sort of this red here. It has 1. Here to here is 2, and here to here is 3. And these red powers say wherever you're on this track, you get to do this power with a certain amount of power depending on when you're at. So at the beginning, they'll just get a power 1, but if this yellow player was in this band, they'd get a power 2, and here, if they were over here in the blue, they'd get a power of 3. And what this allows them to do is for where their power is, they get to select a certain amount of different opposing players and banish their minions to a different realm. So they have a power 1, let's say they take the green and they move it over here, for example. Now that'll tie them here for next round, but maybe they've got some other plans. Now the mercenaries is going to allow this player here, purple, to add a black mercenary to a realm. So maybe add it here. What this does is next round, whoever controls this is that's going to add towards theirs. Now yellow here is going to activate Berserk. They get to, again, it has to do with the power of where you're at. Let's say they're at 1. They get to do one opponent's minion and turn it into a Berserk minion. Up here, green's got a pretty good lead, so they will transfer one of those into a big, large Berserk minion. And this is going to be worth 3 minions at the time of power to see who has power next round, but then it's going to basically go away after that's done. So it's sort of like a temporary thing to mess with the power balance, doing that with the Berserk. Now here, yellow player has the dominance on Possess. They're going to be able to take the Possess marker. Now they're going to place that in a realm, and they're going to place one of their own shades standing up. Then they'll pick one of the other players, again, that has some presence there, and they're going to place theirs laying down. What this means is in phase 2 next round, when you're looking for dominance, yellows are also going to count greens as if they were their own. It's really cool. Now the green player here gets to do a Mindswap. Now earlier I showed you that they placed the yellow player placed a bind here, but I wanted to show you this exception because bind stops physical movement of minions moving in or out of there. Mindswap is actually one that actually does sort of an exception to this because you're not actually moving things out, you're doing a mind swap, and you're only messing with the consciousness of what's transferred. So essentially, you're essentially swapping, you're not like removing or adding. And so in this case, it's sort of a little bit of an exception that someone that's using Mindswap can do it even if the bind is there, where normally bind stops physical movement. I wanted to sort of point that out here. So again, because this is a red one, depending on where they are on the favor track, in this case, they're just in the range of 1, with one other opponent, because they're at a power 1, they would take one of their minions and they'd swap it with a different player at a different realm. So let's say they swap one of these ones with one of these ones at the portal, let's say, just like that. Then, once we do all the realm powers, we'll go to scoring. The first thing you do is score the 9th circle. Now, I haven't shown you this yet in detail, but remember, in the first round, what we did was we placed our minions. And we were doing that behind our shield, but remember I told you earlier that there's these move, and you have up to 3 of these to use. So next round, we start placing minions. We can also move minions from certain places, and you can even move them into the 9th circle. Now essentially you're using one of your 3 movements and you're taking a minion from one of the other realms that you may be fighting for power for and putting them here, but they can be worth quite a bit of favor because at the end of this round here, in phase 4, whoever has the most here is going to get sacrificed and they're going to get 5 favor for that, right? And the second player is the green here is going to get 3, and that's one way to get favor, but it is a trade-off because you don't want to keep sacrificing a lot of these because these will now come out of here. Then starting in the realm where Malakota isn't going clockwise, the person who had control, and that's the one who had control at the end of phase 2, which is determining the realm dominance, they're going to get the point. And if it's the one that has Malakota, they're going to get an additional point, or favor, if you will. So purple's going to get 2 here. Now we placed these on their side after we activated them to remind us where we were in the activation process. And we know that these ones were added here, but that was with another power, right? But this was the one that had the dominance, so they're the one that gets the points. Just like here in Portal, purple is still going to get another favor because they had dominance. And remember, the portal swapped. Green's actually in the lead now, but they won't get a shade here until the end of the second phase after players are going to reinforce a move, and then you determine what realm dominance. And at this point, Malakota is going to take pity on you. Now, depending on where you are in the favor order, meaning how many points you have, you're going to get less. So purple was in first place, so we're only going to get 3 minions from our cage, our supply, to be able to place out next round, where second place is going to get 4, third place is going to get 5, and so on and so forth. Remember, I got this one from a power earlier, but this is why in these future rounds, these are going to be huge because you're going to be moving minions from, like, say, E to F, or maybe say from G to 9th circle, maybe B to 9th circle, things like that. And remember, losing them to 9th circle is big because you're only going to be getting a certain amount of them at the end of each round. Then we would move Malakota clockwise, and we would start again with phase 1, reinforcing moving, and continue doing this. Now this will continue until the end of a round where somebody has gotten at least 25, and at that point, whoever has the most favor will win, or if at the end of the 8th round, if players are not there yet in favor, when Malakota goes here, the game immediately ends and whoever has the most favor wins. Now, again, you're not using all of the realms every game. There's different ones, plus the randomization of where they go. And if you backed Game Boy Geek's Season 11 Kickstarter, there was a new realm that you could get for this game as well. And you can also play a 2-player game where players will be placing minions from a third non-used color during some of the placement. And there's some other rules as well to tighten it down for a 2-player game. Whether you have 9th Circle, and as I showed in the overview, you're trying to gain the most favor by dominating realms, but it's how you use the powers of those realms that will guide you to victory. Now, if you'd like to see all the most up-to-date art and components and all the different pledge levels available, you can click the link below me right in the description of this video. Now that will take you directly to the Kickstarter project page, and I'm sure that R&R Games would love your support.